Have you heard of that madman who lit a lantern in the bright morning hours, ran into the marketplace and cried incessantly, "I seek God! I seek God." As many of those who do not believe in God were standing around just then, he provoked much laughter. "Why did he get lost?" said one. "Did he lose his way like a child?" said another. "Or is he hiding? Is he afraid of us? Has he gone on a voyage or immigrated?" Thus they yelled and laughed. The madman jumped into their midst and pierced them with his glances. "Whither is God?" he cried. "I shall tell you. We have killed him, you and I. All of us are his murderers. But how have we done this? How were we able to drink up the sea? Who gave us the sponge to wipe away the entire horizon? What did we do when we unchained this earth from its sun? Whither is it moving now? Whither are we moving now? Away from all suns. Are we not plunging continually backward, sideward, forward in all directions? Is there any up or down left? Are we not straying as through an infinite nothing? Do we not feel the breath of empty space? Has it not become colder? Is not night and more night coming on all the while? Must not lanterns be lit in the morning? Do we not hear anything yet of the noise of the gravediggers who are burying God? Do we not smell anything yet of God's decomposition? Gods too decompose. God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. How shall we, the murderers of all murderers, comfort ourselves? What was holiest and most powerful of all that the world has yet owned has bled to death under our knives. Who will wipe this blood off us? What water is there for us to clean ourselves? What festivals of atonement, what sacred games shall we have to invent? Is not the greatness of this deed too great for us? Must not we ourselves become gods simply to seem worthy of it? There has never been a greater deed, and whoever will be born after us for the sake of this deed, he will be part of a higher history than all history hitherto. Here the madman fell silent and looked again at his listeners, and they too were silent and stared at him in astonishment. At last, he threw his lantern on the ground, and it broke and went out. "I've come too early," he said then. "My time has not come yet. This tremendous event is still on its way, still wandering. It has not reached the ears of man. Lightning and thunder require time. The light of the stars requires time. Deeds require time, even after they are done, before they can be seen and heard. This deed is still more distant from them than the most distant stars, and yet they have done it themselves." In this short narrative, The Madman in the Gay Science, Friedrich Nietzsche introduces one of his most provocative ideas. It is here that Nietzsche declares that God is dead. Let's get into it. Nietzsche's Death of God is often misunderstood as a declaration of atheism or a celebration of secularism. But Nietzsche's claim serves as more of a diagnosis. It represents a profound shift in Western consciousness. It's the erosion in the belief of a transcendent moral order or authority that guaranteed us our sense of meaning, our values, and an afterworld experience. For hundreds of years, Western societies have grounded their moral and social order in a Christian metaphysical framework where God functioned as the ultimate source of authority. Truth was anchored in divine reason. Morality grounded in divine command. Suffering was given meaning through salvation. When belief in this framework begins to weaken under the pressure of scientific discovery, of historical criticism, and philosophical skepticism, the structure does not simply vanish without consequence. It leaves behind a void. As a consequence of this void, Nietzsche anticipates the rise of nihilism, which, if you remember from the last video, nihilism is the philosophical position that life lacks inherent meaning, value, or purpose, and that traditional sources of meaning such as religion or morality no longer hold authority. If morality was justified by God, then what justifies it once God is gone? If life derived its meaning from a transcendent source, where does it derive that meaning now? This realization can leave an entire society confused and disoriented and untethered. And we see the madman in this story alerting humanity that they've arrived too early at the death of God, because society has not yet developed new structures of meaning, new value systems to replace the old ones. When the madman says, "What did we do when we unchained this earth from its sun? Are we not plunging continually, backward, sideward, forward, in all directions? Is there any up or down left? Are we not straying as through an infinite nothing?" We can feel the madman's existential crises, but his warning is premature. Humanity does not yet grasp the crisis that it's in, that the shared metaphysical order that once grounded spiritual life has dissolved. It's important to note that Nietzsche is not advocating for a simple return to faith, nor is he suggesting that we celebrate the resulting void. Instead, he presents the death of God as an inflection point in the metaphysical orientation of Western consciousness that demands that we take creative responsibility for what comes next. And it's in Nietzsche's later works, like Thus Spoke Zarathustra, that he builds out his idea that as individuals, we must be creators of our own values. The death of God clears ground, but does not yet provide a blueprint of what follows or how we should build our value systems going forward. But what does creative responsibility look like for Nietzsche? Let's take a look. When external traditional metaphysical foundations collapse, human beings must take responsibility for creating their own meaning, values, and guided principles. Creative responsibility is the obligation to consciously create and uphold values in a world where they are no longer guaranteed by a transcendent authority. But for Nietzsche, this burden of creative responsibility begins with the individual. It kind of reminds me of that Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. But then we're faced with a problem. What happens if everybody just starts creating their own values? How do we avoid chaos and fragmentation? And that's exactly the tension that Nietzsche leaves us with. Values are what are born out of lived experience. They are reality tested, something we can all fundamentally agree on. We don't all arrive on the same page because we agree to a value system in advance. In this post-religious world, individuals align because certain value systems have proven life-affirming and coherent and sustainable over time. We're fortunate now to live in the age of information because we have the data. We know the patterns that lead us into collective unity and evolution and betterment. And we know the patterns that lead to chaos and destruction and decline. Nietzsche's Death of God sets a challenge for Western consciousness, both individually and collectively, rather than providing us with the comfort of a ready-made solution. But would we expect comfort from Friedrich Nietzsche? I think not. If you've made it this far, you might want to consider hitting the thumbs up and subscribing to this channel. Your support really means a lot to me. It takes a minute to prepare these pieces, and that is it's a situation I've gotten my own self in, following my passion. But I would really appreciate if you could show me some love with some likes, because it helps to tell the algorithm that this content is worth sharing with others.